like I'm so excited. Like for you, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have been accepted into university and I'm so excited and relieved and happy. And also today's my birthday. I have a lot of good feelings going around. I'm so happy, I'm so thrilled, I'm so excited about the future. I held this a secret for a long time because I did not know how things would go really. For you who don't know, I have been working as a welder for a long time. Do you see those tiny Mooseladies? That's me. So yeah, it's over now. And instead I'm thinking like I can walk around campus like this.
What?
Isn't this a look? Welcome to today's episode. Today I will be talking about a very special stone. I did a poll on my Instagram account. Well, I gave 4 options of stones that I will be talking about. If your stone and your story didn't like get the most votes, it's okay. I will absolutely make a story about all of those stones. They are magical, they are magnificent. I mean, I will talk about them because they are all so very special. So don't be worried, I will be doing that. I will, however, start off with the stone that got the most votes. I think you will be able to tell why I think this stone is so very special and why it's standing in a crazy place. It's totally crazy getting there. But anyways, happy birthday to me. I'm probably an asshole for having myself on my welding hoodie. And yeah, let's get on to it. I'm so excited. Thank you everyone that has like said congratulations on your birthday, and also congratulations to the university. Like the response I got to the university thing, I'm overwhelmed. I'm so happy and thank you so much. Like, let's get on with the video. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. I'm so sorry. Roll it. Sometime during the late 1700s, a parson is writing a very angry letter. He's having a firm grip on his pen while he's dipping it into the ink more and more intensely as he writes. The parson, who's named Ture Ljunggren, is upset because of some rumors that has been circulating around his little parish out on the countryside of Skaraborg in Västergötland, Sweden. The rumors are that the courtier and squire Per Tam is planning to have yet another decorative stone moved to his estate, the Dagsnäs castle out by the lake Hornborga. Per Tam is very fond of these odd stones that are raised all throughout all of Skaraborg, and he haven't been able to resist his urge to move some of these stones to his estate's grounds. One of them he will even carve his own name into. This stone I remember so vividly myself, not being able to really make out the letters on this runestone's back before I took this picture of it. And then I realized what it spelled out. Tam. Where this runestone used to stand in Bane Åsaka, now stands this copy of it. But that's another story. Now I will take you back to the story of the angry parson. He is writing this very upset letter directly to the landowner Per Tam. He is finding Tam's interest in moving these stones inappropriate and points out what might have been lost historically and archaeologically in doing so. He is concerned that the modern human being later on will think that these stones have been raised at the castle Dagsnäs. He is even going so far as using the phrase savages on Dagsnäs in one of the sentences, where he's talking about how the modern human being will look back at these stones and where they came from. Remember that this is very heavy words to utter to any person of importance and higher rank during these times, even for a parson. He is very passionate about keeping this particular stone where it is, because it belongs to the lands of his parish and to the history of the location it is raised in. I would like to say thank you, Parson Ture Ljunggren, because without your passion and that ladder, this stone I will talk about today might not have been left where it's at, hidden within a deep forest on a hill slope, out on the countryside of Skaraborg. This episode is about the Korsbackastenen, out in Bolum, Västergötland, Sweden. This is one of a kind type of runestones. Before I looked this stone's location up, I had 2 pictures to use as somewhat of a clue what to look after when I got to the site. These 2 pictures I found at a museum. They've been taken during the 1920s. Well, I thought it would be a piece of cake, since I was familiar with both the area somewhat, and I've been looking at so many different stones by now. Oh boy, was I wrong. I had forgotten how much and how fast the landscape actually changes. If you would take a walk out here, would you ever be able to guess what this thick and wildly grown forest would hide? There's basically no path into this forest. It's all overgrown with tall grass and wild flowers. It is a peaceful place with not many houses nearby. It almost feels like one of those fantasy books where the main character steps into a random forest out in the middle of nowhere and ends up in a magical world. Out here, there are tiny squirrels running around with their pine cones up in the treetops. There are butterflies everywhere, and you can hear birds singing in a large choir. This place is nothing like the pictures I've seen of it. When I finally enter the dark and super green forest, I can spot that there are a bunch of stone walls. And the deeper I go into this forest, the more stone walls I see. This is a clear sign of that this forest isn't that old. This land has undoubtedly been used for farming. The landscape is divided into different plots of land where people have grown their crops. Isn't it fantastic that wherever we go, the landscape can change a lot, but the stones, they will always guide us back to the old days' truth. Okay, are you ready, guys? It is time to go off-road into the forest and try to not get lost in it. This stone can't be found using any paths. It can only be located by looking for hours or if you already know where to find it. Luckily, I have done both of those before I recorded this episode. I choose to follow alongside one of the stone walls, but keeping somewhat of a distance to it. I saw a big snake going into the forest, and I would rather not meet her up close if I don't have to. After following alongside some different stone walls and based upon my knowledge on where it was the last time, I finally spotted magical. That is the only way I can describe it. Let's talk about how it looks. It has a huge cross at the top center of it and stand around 115 centimeters tall. These runes are typical early medieval runes and were used around the 1100 up to around the end of the 1200s. So, shall we read them? Let's. Do you have your rune handbook? If you don't have one, I highly recommend it. Lars Magnar Enoksen is a name I will always bring up in these contexts. If you can get any of his rune books, you should. But enough about Lars. Let's read these runes. Suen, Gislar, Sun, Let, Gira, Bro, Thäsa, Firir, Sial, Sina och Thör, Sins, That rätt, Heirlum, att, Bithia, Bat Sven Gislarsson had this bridge made for his and his father's soul. Everyone should here pray Pater Noster. So, what does this mean? Sven had a bridge made for his and his father's souls, so that they would pass over purgatory safely. This was a very, very honorable act to do so. The bridge and the stone together was a very big deal during this time, and far from everyone has done this in honor of their deceased. What's even more interesting is that there is not further than around 50 meters west of where this stone is raised what seems to be leftovers from a bridge over an old marshland area. By the time this stone was raised, in combination with that Sven wants us to pray Pater Noster. If you are confused and don't understand what that means, it's totally fine. I will tell you. Pater Noster is Latin, and it is the Lord's Prayer, or the prayer Our Father. And it goes something like this, and I'm sure you have heard of it. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I'm sure some of you had a "oh" moment right there, because I know I had, but in Swedish, of course. Let me just say, I have no suspicion about any kinds of Thor's hammers on this stone. Peter and his father is clearly Christian, which is not unusual for this time. I was sorry to let Peter and his father down a bit, since I don't know more than about 3 lines of the Pater Noster in Swedish. But I did hope that wherever he and his father has gone, that they are seeing that we haven't forgotten about their memory. When these old pictures were taken was when the stone was restored and cleaned up a bit. It was given a little foot so it wouldn't fall over, since the bottom of it has been lost. Locally, there used to be a tale of how this stone was raised by a criminal who'd killed his own father and therefore had to build a long, long road from the local big lake Hornborgasjön to the mountain of Billinge. This road is named Svennavägen. This, however, was a tale that was told locally during the 16, maybe 17, and even 1800s. This story holds little credibility, in my opinion, since father murderers probably wouldn't be able to go through with these clear and well looked upon honorings as Sven did. As far as we know, it's more likely that Sven wasn't as cruel as these rumors locally was long after his and his father's passing. I would like to thank you for watching this episode. Oh, and before I forget, what did the stone say to the moose? The stone said that even though landscapes change drastically and rumors circulate, your actions in the last honoring will echo throughout centuries. Thank you, Sven, for looking out for your father's soul and for making sure that we know about him and you. I always leave this place knowing that there is always new information for me to find about it. And I know that I'll keep coming back here for as long as I live.